Welcome to the deep dive. Keeping up with artificial intelligence news, it feels like a full-time job these
Oh,
days.
absolutely. It's just relentless.
Yeah.
Breakthroughs, policy changes, huge numbers flying around constantly.
It really is information overload.
Plain and simple. And trying to find the actual signal in all that noise,
Mhm.
it's tough.
Yeah, you're definitely not alone if you feel that way. So that's why we're here. For this deep dive, we've basically boiled down the most critical, high-impact news from just one incredibly busy day, October 27, 2025.
Think of this as your professional shortcuts.
Exactly. Helping you understand where the money, the compute power, and importantly, the governance are actually heading, not just today, but for the next few years.
And we're breaking it down into four key areas. We'll start right at the foundation. The raw power, the chips, and infrastructure. It's massively capital intensive.
Then we'll look at how AI is getting specialized for high-stakes workplaces, think enterprise tools.
Right. Followed by what's new for consumers and developers.
And finally, we absolutely have to cover the push for safety and governance, which is accelerating globally. Okay, let's kick off with that foundation infrastructure. And the scale is just, wow, it's breathtaking.
It really is. OpenAI made things pretty clear in their policy submission to the White House OSTP.
That's the Office of Science and Technology Policy. They basically framed this whole compute thing as, well, a matter of national strategic importance.
They did. They actually called electrons the new oil of AI. I mean, that framing tells you everything.
Yeah, it's not just a tech issue anymore.
No, it's an energy crisis, an infrastructure challenge. They even announced they're on track to complete that massive $500 billion, 10-gigawatt Stargate commitment by the end of 2025.
$500 billion. That number is hard to even process. It's more than the GDP of some countries.
It really puts capital expenditure in a whole new light, doesn't it?
And their recommendation for the U.S. to stay ahead.
Get this. Build 100 gigawatts of new clean energy generation per year.
100 gigawatts a year. Wow, that really makes the scope tangible.
It absolutely does. And what's interesting, while labs like OpenAI are focused on securing power for training these huge future models,
Right, the really big upfront stuff.
the hardware market is actually focusing elsewhere, challenging NVIDIA, the big leader, but in the inference space.
Okay, wait, so NVIDIA dominates training, building the models. How big a threat is this focus on inference, really? Is Stargate, that half-trillion investment, aimed at what Qualcomm's targeting?
That's a great question. They're related, but different. Training is at enormous initial cost. Inference is, well, it's the cost of actually running the trained model every time you say, ask ChatGPT a question.
Ah, okay, the day-to-day usage costs.
Exactly. And that's expected to become the biggest part of the market and the most sensitive to cost. That's the opening Qualcomm sees.
And they jumped right in with a big hardware announcement, didn't they? The AI200 and AI250 accelerators.
They did, and their stock jumped nearly 20% on the news. It shows the market's hungry for this.
So what's the strategy there?
Purely targeting cost-efficient inference. Their main chip, the AI250, claims something like 10 times higher memory bandwidth and uses less power.
And memory bandwidth is key for...
For inference, yeah. You need to shuttle huge amounts of data back and forth really quickly to generate answers efficiently and cheaply. That's the bottleneck they're tackling.
And they've already got a big customer lined up.
Right. Saudi Arabia's AI startup, Humane, a 200-megawatt deployment starting in 2026. It shows there's immediate global demand for alternatives.
So this ties into sovereign compute too, right? Governments wanting their own capacity?
Absolutely. We saw the U.S. Department of Energy and AMD announce a $1 billion public-private partnership.
$1 billion focused on domestic compute.
Exactly. Ensuring the U.S. has cutting-edge capacity right here, and it's happening fast.
How fast?
The first AI supercomputer, called Lux, should be online within 6 months.
6 months. Wow.
Yeah, and it's expected to deliver 3 times the AI capacity of the current top systems, using AMD's latest MI355X GPUs.
Okay, and one more piece on scale before we move on. Anthropic and Google.
Yes, the hyperscaler alliances. Anthropic secured access to up to 1 million Google Cloud TPU chips.
Million chips.
Coming online in 2026. It just solidifies that these top AI labs, they need these massive custom compute deals with the big cloud providers. They can't do it alone.
Okay, so the power infrastructure is scaling up massively. Now, where's all that compute actually being put to work? Let's talk high-stakes workplaces, starting with finance. Anthropic seems to be diving deep here.
They really are. They launched Claude for Excel, currently in beta. And this is Strategically brilliant.
Putting AI right into Excel.
Exactly. Directly into the main tool that finance professionals live and breathe in. You can analyze, even edit spreadsheets using natural language right there.
Why is putting it in Excel the genius move rather than just another standalone app?
Because Excel is the standard language of finance globally, right? Integrating directly means you skip huge hurdles in getting people to adopt a new workflow.
Makes sense. Less friction.
Way less friction. And the upgrade isn't just the chat interface. It includes real-time connections to data sources like LSEG, that's the London Stock Exchange Group, and Moody's, plus 6 pre-built agent skills for common finance tasks.
Like what?
Things like generating valuation models or automating parts of due diligence, stuff that takes analysts a lot of time.
And are there results yet?
Yeah, early adopter AIG reported they're seeing business review timelines speed up by 5 times.
5 times faster. That's significant. That's not just tinkering. That's real productivity.
It absolutely shows AI moving beyond just proof of concept into, well, mission-critical improvements.
And we're seeing similar specialization in healthcare, too.
We are. Google Research launched Remedis. It's a foundation model specifically for medical imaging, but it's self-supervised.
Okay, and the key thing there is data efficiency, right?
Precisely. Remedis is much better at generalizing. It reduces the need for site-specific training data by 3 to 100 times.
Whoa, 100 times.
Potentially, yeah. Think about it. Usually you'd need to retrain or fine-tune an imaging AI for every single hospital's specific machines or patient groups.
Right, which takes time and data.
Exactly. This could massively speed up how quickly safe AI tools get deployed in actual clinics worldwide. And Google also open-sourced their Medical AI Research Foundations repository to help the whole field move faster.
Okay, zooming out a bit from specific sectors to general business use, we saw some hard numbers on productivity gains.
Yeah, IBM did a study of executives in EMEA, that's Europe, Middle East, Africa. They found 66%, two-thirds, reported significant operational productivity improvements from AI.
66% is huge.
Big is. And even more telling, 24% of those leaders said AI was actually transforming their business models. Not just making things faster, but fundamentally changing how they operate.
So it's structural change, not just efficiency.
Seems like it. And we saw similar data from Tencent's internal R&D report, a 20% boost in R&D efficiency, and a 67% jump in R&D automation using their own AI platform.
This race for productivity must be driving fierce competition among the AI models themselves.
Oh, definitely. And we saw a big move in the open source space with Minimax M2.
A challenger model from China.
Right. It's got 230 billion parameters, and it's now topping the open source benchmarks for agentic workflows.
Okay, remind us agentic workflows.
It means the AI can do more than just answer questions. It can plan tasks, use tools like a web browser or calculator, execute complex coding steps. It acts more like an assistant.
Got it. And the kicker.
The cost.
Yeah.
It apparently costs only about 8% of what Claude Sonnet costs for input tokens. And it runs twice as fast.
8% of the price. Wow.
Yeah, that puts serious cost pressure on the big proprietary models globally.
Okay, so huge gains in the enterprise. But AI is also embedding itself deeper into our consumer lives and, crucially, into the tools developers use to build everything. Let's start with wellness, Google, and Fitbit.
Right. They launched the public preview of their AI-powered personal health coach right inside the Fitbit app.
Built on Gemini, their big model.
Exactly.
Yeah.
This looks like a major step into personalized AI-first health for consumers. It uses what they call a multi-agent architecture.
Meaning?
Basically, different AI components handle different tasks. It pulls in your data from your Fitbit sleep, steps, heart rate, all that, and gives you proactive tips, and you can chat with it for guidance.
Seems like a cautious step into a sensitive area.
Very cautious, safety-focused, but potentially at a massive scale given Fitbit's user base.
Okay, shifting gears to content creation, YouTube made some big announcements.
Yeah, their largest creator update ever, they called it. They integrated Google DeepMind's video generation model, VO3 Fast.
So creators can make video clips now.
Just from text prompts, yeah.
Yeah.
Right inside YouTube Shorts. And it generates sound, too.
Okay, that's interesting. But what about the dubbing feature?
Ah, yeah, that might be even bigger. AI-powered auto-dubbing with lip-sync technology that matches the new language, available now in 20 languages.
20 languages with lip sync.
Yep. Imagine what that does for breaking down language barriers for creators wanting a global audience. It's almost instantaneous translation and localization.
Wow. Okay, now for the people building all these apps and tools, the developers, Google made a play for them too.
They did, with Gemini CLI. CLI means command line interface.
So bringing AI to the developer's terminal.
Exactly. It's an open source AI agent using the Apache 2.0 license, which is quite permissive. It brings Gemini 2.5 Pro with that huge 1 million token context window right into their coding workflow.
And the big hook.
The free tier, they're offering 1,000 requests per day at no charge. That's industry-leading by far. It's a direct challenge to existing developer AI tools. They clearly want developers building on Gemini.
Okay, one last piece in this segment touching on a really critical issue, privacy.
Right. Google released Vault Gemma.
What's special about Vault Gemma?
It's a smaller 1 billion parameter open model, but it was trained from scratch using differential privacy.
Explain differential privacy simply.
Okay. Basically, it adds carefully calibrated noise during the training process. It provides a mathematical guarantee that you can't reverse engineer the model to figure out if any specific person's data was used to train it, even if you study the final model really closely.
So it protects individual privacy in the training data.
Exactly. It's a huge technical step for building safer AI, especially in really sensitive areas like healthcare or finance, where data privacy is paramount.
It's really clear the innovation is happening at breakneck speed across the board, but that speed is matched by this growing need for, well, guardrails, safety, and governance. OpenAI seems to be tackling this head-on.
They are, and importantly, they provided a measurable update to their safety protocols.
Measurable how?
They deployed a big safety update to ChatGPT, specifically designed to handle sensitive conversations, better things like users expressing distress or maybe becoming overly reliant on the AI. And they developed it with over 170 mental health experts.
So turning safety from just a policy goal into an engineering problem.
Exactly. And they measured the results. They said responses that fall short, basically unhelpful or potentially harmful responses in these sensitive situations, were reduced by 65 to 80%.
65 to 80% reduction. That sets a pretty high bar for the industry, doesn't it?
It really does. A new benchmark for responsible crisis response and referral in AI.
You know, this raises a bigger question. Is all this focus on governance and safety just a cost, a compliance burden? Or is there more to it?
That's a key debate. But an EY survey of C-suite leaders shed some interesting light on that. It found this surprising correlation.
What did it find?
Organizations that already had things like real-time AI monitoring and dedicated oversight committees in place,
Okay, the ones taking governance seriously.
they were 34% more likely to see revenue growth and 65% more likely to achieve cost savings.
Wow, so good governance is actually good business.
The data seems to suggest that yes, strong ethical frameworks, robust safety protocols, they're becoming economic imperatives, not just nice-to-haves.
Okay, shifting to formal regulation. We saw movement at the state level in the U.S.
We did. The New York RAISE Act, that stands for Responsible AI Safety and Education, gained key endorsements.
What would RAISE do?
It would require developers of the most powerful AI models, they define that, as models costing over $100 million to train to implement basic safety plans. Essentially, risk assessments and mitigation strategies to prevent misuse.
And there are penalties.
Potentially hefty ones. Up to $30 million for repeat offenses if they deploy high-risk AI without those safeguards.
Okay, what about internationally? Any major moves?
Two interesting ones. First, India proposed mandatory AI content labeling rules.
For deepfakes and synthetic media.
Exactly. They want social media platforms to ensure AI-generated content is clearly labeled, dedicating at least 10% of the visual display area or the audio duration to a disclaimer. Very specific.
10%, that's quite prominent.
It is a quantitative approach to transparency. And then there's Albania.
Albania, what are they doing?
They're expanding this really interesting experiment in algorithmic governance. They introduced 83 digital offspring, basically, AI assistants for their members of parliament.
AI assistants for politicians.
Yeah, designed to provide data-driven policy ideas, analyze legislation, maybe enhance efficiency. It's integrating AI right into the legislative process itself. A fascinating, if maybe slightly unnerving, experiment. Hashtag tag outro.
Wow. Okay, what an incredibly dense day of updates. If we try to synthesize all this, what are the core trends that jump out?
I think the biggest one is this fundamental shift. AI isn't just a research project anymore. It's now a massive, capital-intensive infrastructure challenge, and alongside that, a critical governance challenge.
Right, the scale of investment, the energy needs, the regulatory focus, it's all operating at a different level now.
And we're seeing intense specialization, aren't we?
Yeah.
AI tailored for finance, for health, for developers. It proves models need domain expertise.
But that specialization still relies on that unprecedented scale in the underlying compute. It's a paradox, almost.
It is. The common thread, though, across everything we discuss, from Stargate's $500 billion price tag to differentially private models like Volgemma, is the move from experimental AI to operational AI.
AI that actually does real work reliably and hopefully safely.
Exactly. So the next frontier, it seems, isn't just building ever more powerful models. It's making sure we have the energy, the regulations, the specialized workforce, the safety checks, everything needed to handle these powerful tools responsibly and actually make them profitable.
It's a huge undertaking.
It is. And the sheer amount of capital needed just for the foundational infrastructure, it's staggering. Which brings us to maybe a final thought for you, the listener.
Okay.
Given these huge complex alliances we saw, Anthropic needing 1 million Google chips, Qualcomm jumping in against NVIDIA, AMD partnering with the government, will the future of AI be defined by all this necessary specialization we're seeing? Or will these massive, sometimes exclusive compute deals end up consolidating power among just a handful of dominant players?
Specialization versus consolidation. Definitely something to keep thinking about as this all unfolds.
Absolutely.
Well, that's all the time we have for this deep dive. We'll catch you next time.